There's nothing worse than having someone talk at you and you can't even get a word in. On the flip side, there's nothing better than to have a good conversation where the exchange of information is flowing freely between two people and active listening is happening. It actually creates a very powerful connection and a sense of bonding where leaders can learn to truly listen to the people that they lead. In this session, I want to share with you the power of active listening in leadership. Hey there, I'm Ryan Franklin, and I would love for you to join me every week as we explore leadership topics that'll help you get the clarity needed to move your organization forward. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified as soon as I post a new session. Before we get started, I do want to mention that I have a great product called the Christianleader Blueprint. It's a solid model for leadership development. It'll help you establish a better rhythm of life. It'll help you see yourself more clearly, leverage your strengths, and build more productive relationships. And I want to give it to you as my free gift. Just go to ryanfranklin.org and you can download the short guide for free today. And without any further delay, let's get to our session. I have a friend that'll start talking as soon as I answer his call or as soon as he answers my call. And I have to admit, for me, this is a very frustrating thing that a person can do to me in a relationship. It makes me not want to even answer his calls. Now, in defense of my friend, I know he's as good as gold, and if I were in a bind, he'd probably take a bullet for me. But in normal day-to-day conversations, it just feels like most of the time, he's not very interested in knowing what's really going on in my life. And this makes it tough to have an effective relationship with this person because he just doesn't know how to listen. Do you happen to know anybody like that in your life? Or could it be that I'm describing you to some degree? Now, here's the truth. When we're not intentional, this is most of us to some degree. And you may not be as severe as my friend, but I'm going to bet that you struggle to really tap into the power of active listening because most people do. In most conversations, we don't even hardly think about what the other person is saying as they're saying it. Most of the time, we're thinking about how we're going to retaliate when the other person stops talking. Just admit it. We're more worried about getting our point across than really hearing what the person has to say. And so we rarely slow down and just listen. We rarely use the true power of active listening in our conversations. And I'm bringing this up today to you because when we do this, we're missing a huge opportunity as leaders. Because active listening can be the single most powerful tool in any leader's toolbox. It's not even possible to show empathy without this tool of active listening. But when a person has good listening skills, one big benefit is that trust is so much easier to achieve with that person and a team as a whole. And as you likely know, there's no influence and there's no leadership without trust in a relationship. And so, what's the nuts and bolts for active listening? Here it is. I'm going to give it to you. It's pretty simple. You want to listen for two things. Number one, you want to listen for content. What is the story that the person is telling you? And why are they telling you this story? And then number two, you want to listen for the emotion that's expressed. Is it frustration? Is it anger or joy? Is it something else? What type of emotion are they experiencing in that moment? So again, you're listening for content and you're listening for the emotion. And if you can manage to do this effectively and state it back to the person, that person is going to begin to feel a sense of empathy from you, and they'll feel like you understand them, like you get them. And usually trust is quickly increased in that very moment. and the relationship is experienced in a much greater way. Now, this may sound simple to you, but can I let you in on a secret as to why most people don't do this? You ready for this? It's because it sounds easy, sounds simple, but it's actually a ton of work. And for most people, active listening just takes too much work for them to engage in it. And here's what I want you to understand, though. You don't have to engage in this intense active listening all of the time. That would take way too much energy and time and effort for any of us to do. It would really be impossible to listen that intently all of the time. But here's the deal. You don't have to do it all of the time to be effective. You just need to know that you can engage in active listening when it's needed, and you need to know how to do it when you need to do it. And also, if you happen to be in an intense conversation with someone that you're leading and maybe the other person's emotions are all over the place and you could even be struggling to know what to say next in that moment, this active listening is going to help you connect with that person in the moment in a very powerful and life-giving way. And I promise you, it'll make a huge difference in calming that person down and making progress in the conversation to resolve the issue. Active listening will make a big, big difference in that person being able to feel a sense of empathy from you. And here's what you have to understand about any relationship in your life, including me and you. Everybody wants to be understood. And when you truly and actively listen to a person, they will feel understood and connected with you in a way that's not possible in any other way. And so I want to end this with a challenge for you. I challenge you, go practice active listening. While it's fresh on your mind, next time you're with a close friend, just ask them a question. And here's a good question you can practice with. Can you tell me something that you're grateful for? If you just ask them that, can you tell me something you're grateful for? And while they're telling you what they're grateful for, you're wanting to listen for the content of the story, the details of the story, and you're wanting to listen for emotion. And then share what you're hearing with that person. And so I challenge you, go practice active listening, because if you'll learn to do this well, and it takes practice, I promise it'll surprise you just how much it impacts your conversations and the relational connections with the people that you lead. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a great day. God bless you.